Good morning, everybody. It's Stas here. Welcome to the February 18th, 2021 morning update video where we're going to break down the futures market, the S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ. And let me tell you guys, the futures are not looking too great right now. And I also want to break down 6 to 7 stocks that I'm watching and looking to buy this morning. There's a lot of stocks gapping down, so I want to talk about some of those today. And on top of that, we're also going to go over a couple of open positions I have that I'm focusing on and that I might add more to today. And by the way, I'm uploading this onto YouTube so you guys on YouTube can see what we do every single morning on Patreon every day pre-market and, at the market open on Patreon, which is what you're watching right here. So let's just get right into it. Right here, what we see are the S&P 500 futures, and again, they're not looking too pretty. You can see they are down almost 0.7%. The futures are almost down 30 points, and this kind of piggybacks off of what we said on the YouTube channel yesterday, which was, hey, the S&P, take a look here on this 5-day, 5-minute, the S&P, it did break out of this wedge, but I wasn't too convinced. And I believe when I filmed the video yesterday, we were hovering right at the resistance of the wedge and right around 39.30, which was a big resistance. And I mean, guys, we barely broke out of it. I mean, we closed at 39.31, literally 1 point above that resistance. So yeah, I mean, that wasn't a clear confirmation of the full-on breakout that the S&P is getting to those highs again, right around 39.50. So I wasn't too convinced of this breakout. And lo and behold, take a look. The futures are down 0.7%, meaning what that means is, okay, the S&P didn't fully break out. It's actually getting back into this wedge that you guys can see on this 5-day, 5-minute, and you could probably see it better on the 20-day chart if I zoom in a bit. So what that means is we're gapping down today. We're probably going to be going down to test. I mean, gosh, the futures are already down 30 points. We're already at 3,900, so we are going to test 3,900 today. We're about to right now, and the key thing here is, and I mentioned this on the YouTube channel yesterday, the key thing which we're about to do right now, real-time live action, is we're about to test and break 3,900, which, guys, take a look on this 5-day, 5-minute on the S&P. That's right around the support, the higher low, which we held yesterday at 3,900. So that would not be good for the bulls whatsoever if we take out the lows from yesterday and we do something like this. Take a look at my arrows here. We could be going 38.80, 38.90. I mean, that is where we could be going. And another thing worth mentioning is if we do get a bit oversold at market open, don't be surprised if the S&P does see a bit of a bounce back. If it sees, let's say we take out 3,900 low, let's say we go 38.90, 38.95. Who's to say it doesn't bounce back? I mean, I think that is very possible. That could happen. I mean, in fact, we've seen it multiple times these past couple of days. It's gotten a bit oversold. It's ripped back up a bit, seen relief rally. So if it goes for that lower low, gets oversold, that is where we might see a relief rally. So keep an eye there on the S&P. The Dow Futures, they're up, or not up, they're down 0.5%, not as much. And what we saw yesterday was the Dow actually, I think, was it green yesterday? I think it might have gone up like 0.2% yesterday. So the Dow's been holding up compared to the other indexes, but still the futures are down right now 0.5%. And pretty much the same that I said on the S&P, technically speaking, applies to the Dow as well. I mean, if we take out those lows from yesterday, we'll probably see a relief rally. So watch out for that here on the 5-day, 5-minute on the Dow Futures and the Dow Index. And when it comes to the NASDAQ futures, they're not looking too good either. I mean, they're down the most. They're down 1%, down 135 points as I'm filming this video. And it looks like they want to take out those lows as we speak. I mean, the bulls are fighting. They're trying to hold the support, but it's not looking like it's going to last. We'll see. This 13,550, 13,575 level is big. So if that breaks, look for a leg down on the NASDAQ 100 futures here and the NASDAQ 100 index. We could be going 13,400, somewhere in that territory, 13,450, 475, 400 flat. Who knows? That could be where we're going here. So the futures are not looking good, and you guys can see the VIX is coming back to life. VIX is the volatility index, also known as the fear index, and this thing has been quite quiet these past couple of trading days, right? It spiked up, excuse me, guys, to about 38, dropped down to about 20, right around where that support is, at about 20. Now it's ripping up. It's up, or yesterday it was up 8%. We'll see how high the VIX gets today. And gold is looking good. Finally, guys, gold is back in the green, up 0.7%. And the silver futures, they're pretty much break even. But gold on the flip side, again, is looking pretty good. So what are your thoughts? I mean, overall, it looks like, again, the markets are obviously red. We could go lower at the market open, and maybe we see a bit of a relief rally after that. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. As always, I would love to know whether you're watching this on Patreon or YouTube. Hey, hit that like. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? And now let's just get into these stocks. I mean, there's a bunch that I want to talk about today. Many of these, I think all of them are actually down pre-market, but that's okay. Stock number one is Workhorse. This is one that I'm already in. You guys know this. I've had a position for a while. 20 bucks is when I got in, or 22 actually. Ended up locking in some profits at 29, locked even more at 42. Now we're back at 31, and this is where I was wanting excuse me, to add some more money into my position and get back into the position, scale back into it with a bigger position. And that is because we have, and I posted this on Patreon yesterday, if you guys remember my Workhorse post, I mean, there's many resistance points, old resistance points that are about to test right now as support. One of them is at about this point right here, from the high back in the middle of September at about 31.30. Another one's at about 30.90 back in the middle of October. Another level we could get down to is the high 29s. And of course, the lower end that I'm looking at is about $28. And those are all, again, like I said, old resistance points. And at this point, we're seeing on the 20-day chart, take a look at this, Workhorse is actually selling off quite aggressively. The downtrend is still intact, and it's not that aggressive of a sell-off, but it's down about 2-3% right now pre-market. So I'd like to see, big thing on Workhorse here, for me to maybe add more on the dip, is do we take out the lows from yesterday? From yesterday at about $31. Do we take out the lows? I mean, technically we already did pre-market. We hit a low of 31.06, but do we clearly break out of it or break through the low here and see another leg down into maybe 30, maybe 29? If that happens today, that is where I'd probably strike on Workhorse here. And guys, it's very oversold. It's gone down very quickly, so I think this one is bound for a bounce back, and the closer it gets to that 180 SMA on the 4-hour, I think that is going to be more and more attractive, so watch out for it. It's gapping down today, and again, watch out for that potential move where it takes out the low from yesterday. That's big. And Palantir has been the talk of the town these past couple of days. I didn't talk about it on YouTube yesterday, but I'll talk about it here on Patreon. If you're watching it on YouTube, I guess you're seeing it on YouTube now. Palantir, they actually dropped a ton recently. You know, they reported earnings, and, you know, it's just been a straight downhill since then. Not necessarily because of earnings. I mean, yeah, probably because of earnings. I mean, it dropped after they reported earnings, but we've been getting some news here and some insight. I mean, a lot of Wall Street right now is pretty split on Palantir. I mean, a lot of analysts are saying it's a good stock, buy it. Some are saying, you know, stay away, sell it. It's not a good stock. And we had Cathie Wood come out, and I think she confused some people. But we're going to clear it up right now. Cathie Wood, she said that some of the most innovations, or the most important innovations, come out of, you know, or they started at least with government or in the government. That's what she said. That's not my words, right? That's what she's saying. And she was, a lot of people were thinking, oh, she doesn't like Palantir, stay away from it, because she said, Cathie Wood says, quote unquote, short term, if the short term is the focus, then it's best to stay away from Palantir. So she confused a little, I think she confused some people there. But what that means to me is, if you're just looking to, day trade this or swing trade it, it might not be the best. But if you're a long-term investor, right, if you're looking to benefit long-term from Palantir, then it's fair game. And in fact, she bought more shares. So this is proof in the pudding, guys, that she is still optimistic about Palantir. She bought 1.5 million shares 2 days ago in her ARK-W ETF. And if you guys aren't signed up to those I think it's the mailing list for ARK, they send out what they're buying pretty much every day, and I take a look at that pretty much every day. And yeah, they bought more about 2 days ago, and granted, it was about 0.5% of the ETF that they bought a couple days ago. I think, 0.5% with 1.5 million shares, so it wasn't that big of a position, but she's still buying. She's still adding into it. And I'm looking at this, and I know she said it's best to stay away from it if you're a short-term person, but I don't care. I'm still looking at it as a short-term trader, and I think this offers opportunity in the short term. I'm not going to lie. I mean, especially if we get down to that support at about $22.50, $23. That was support back in December, heading into the new year here. Let me extend that to the right. If we get that overextended, guys, I'm just going to have to nibble a little bit. I mean, this could be a decent entry. Heck, even here, I mean, it closed at 27 yesterday. Now it's down to about 25 pre-market. So it's down another 8% almost. So Palantir, I think it's getting a bit oversold. I think we could bounce back. I think this could be a play, even if it gets to 23, even at 25, back up to the high 20s, low 30s. I think this is definitely in play. So that's Palantir. Don't freak out about it, guys. I think it's still a good opportunity. Chewy is another one which is pulling down a bit. Hit 120. Now it's at 108 in the pre-market. And what we notice is yesterday, we did see a bit of a rebound on this 50 SMA 4-hour chart, but ultimately, if we zoom in on the 5-day 5-minute, we got hit there at a lower, that ended up being a lower high because now pre-market, we are gapping down. So I want to see, what do we do here at 108.50, where we are pre-market on Chewy? You can see it here on the hourly chart pretty nicely. Do we hold this uptrend? Do we hold 108? 109, rip out of this, and it kind of does depend on the markets. If the markets do see a bounce back in the morning, like we said earlier, if they gap down a bit at open, then they rally back out of there, we could see that obviously fluctuate a lot of individual stocks back up, and Chewy could be a benefactor of that. And we could see a push, maybe 109, 110, 111, 112. And ultimately, the top of this channel is about 120. So do we end up going slowly to fill that gap back up? I think it's possible, which is why I'm watching Chewy right now on the dip. But understand, if it breaks 108, we probably could be going low 100s. That could be a possibility there. And JMIA is another one I'm looking at here, which is down about $10 from its peak at the close price yesterday, and now it's down to 56, so it's down even more. It's down about $13 from the high here at about 70, which is almost in a bear market. And I like this as a continuation play, and by continuation play, I mean it's obviously in an uptrend. Hit a higher high. Now it's looking to just sell off a bit, shake some weak hands, a lot of profit taking, and of course the overall market is selling off a bit, which is affecting high growth and more speculative stocks like JMIA, which is pulling it down a bit. And that's what you guys have to realize. A lot of these stocks that are high growth, when the markets go down, when the VIX pops up, there's some volatility, these sell off more than the overall markets, which is why you see JMIA down 20%. It's in a bear market, and the S&P is still pretty much at all-time highs, and there's just been a little bit of selling in the S&P. So be careful. You have to understand how these markets move. Value stocks like J&J, they're going to move a lot differently in a downturn than stocks like JMIA or stocks like Chewy or stocks like Workhorse and Palantir. So keep that in mind. And JMIA, I think the lowest it could get is maybe 50, 51. That is going to be a very strong buying opportunity, in my opinion. Always do your own research. But if we get there, I'm looking to strike. And as of now, it looks like we very well could get there, especially now pre-market, since we are taking out those lows. And now the question is, okay, we're at 56. We took out the lows from yesterday. Do we go a little bit lower? Probably. Maybe 54, 55. And then we could even get a bounce back play, because I think ultimately it's going to bounce back, recover a bit, and get to about 58, 59. That could be a nice bounce back play there if you're looking to, day trade it. But overall, as a swing trade, yeah, you could probably pick up some shares, low 50s, and hold it for a little bit. That's kind of what I'm looking to do here with this one. So JMIA is solid. Shopify is another one which they reported earnings. Solid earnings, but the growth in 2021 is not nearly as great as it was in 2020. It's not expected to be as great. And, oh my gosh, guys, little side note here. I don't know, I kind of got caught off guard by this. But AMC, it's up 16% pre-market right now. I just got a notification from Robinhood. And no, I don't use Robinhood, guys. I do not use Robinhood. I have about $30 on the platform, but I still get notifications from them. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But Shopify not growing as fast in 2021 as in 2020, which makes sense. The stock's selling off. It's down about $30 pre-market now. Overall, it's down about $100 from its peak. So, hey, this could be a dip. Maybe if we get down to the 50 SMA here on the 4-hour, 1350, that could be an entry. If we break that, we could be going mid-1200s, which honestly could also be an entry. And let's take a look here at AMC. What the heck is going on right now? Another short squeeze, guys? Maybe another short squeeze. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to Wall Street bets, all these stocks lately. I'll be honest, I have not been paying attention at all. I don't even know what the short interest here is, but hey, it's looking it's looking like it's running. So watch out for AMC if you're more of a speculative trader. Who knows? That could go up a ton today. We just have to wait and see. So that's AMC. BioNano is another one right now that we called out on Patreon a couple. It was on the 8th, I believe, of February. You guys can go back on the posts and see that. We called it out. It was a buy order. I made money on it. I didn't hold it long enough to make the max money I could have made. But with trading, guys, your goal should be to get a piece of the pie, which is what I ended up doing. And now it's falling, and I'm looking to get another piece of the pie. It went from 1570. Now it's down to 1370 pre-market. It's down a good chunk pre-market as well. It's down about 80 cents from the close yesterday. And I can see BioNano, BNGO, get down to maybe 1250, 1275, right around that 50 SMA 4-hour chart. I think that could be a dip buy. I'm not forcing it quite yet here, but again, if we see another leg down and maybe take out the lows, I mean, we already took the lows out from yesterday, but if we take out these pre-market lows at 1338 and we get down 1280, somewhere in that area, I mean, that could be a place, in my opinion, to maybe start nibbling a bit. And Tesla is another one that I'm down a little bit on right now. I mean, I'm in at 809. It's at 778, so I'm down. And you guys know I'm in this with an initial position. I mean, I'm not in this with a fully built out position because I'm willing to average down. I mean, this is looking like it's at 780 right now, which is a big resistance we talked about yesterday, since we took out that 780 support, so it became resistance. And now we're right around 780 pre-market. So I'd love to see what this does at 780. If we gap down and maybe go and test the lows from yesterday at 760, I'm probably going to add more. I mean, this is one that's not a 1 to 2 week swing trade. This is more of a longer term swing for me. I want to build this one out and just ride it out, because I think ultimately Tesla is going to bounce back. That is just my opinion, which is why I put the buy alert here on Patreon. I bought into Tesla. I'm holding Tesla. I'm bullish in the short term. So, yeah, guys, that is it. You know, those are the main ones I'm watching. Keep an eye on 780 for Tesla. That's huge. And quickly to run through the names: Workhorse, Palantir, Chewy, JMIA, Shopify, BioNano, Tesla. AMC is another one for, you know, the more risky person out there. And same with Fastly. You know, Fastly reported earnings. We're not going to dig into those now, but it's a bit oversold. This could be a bounce back candidate. So those are the main ones I'm watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you guys are doing. And of course, on Patreon, if you're on Patreon, you can shoot me a DM. We'll chat throughout the day. And actually, a little side note, I will not be available today for the first couple of hours of the day. After this, I'm actually going to the Poconos. It's a mountain here about 2-3 hours from New Jersey. So I'm going to be driving up there. So I won't be able to actually respond to DMs and all that stuff on Patreon, but I will later on in the day. I'll get back on it later on in the day, but just wanted to let you guys know that here, and I'll probably make a post on Patreon letting you all know as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the content on YouTube might not be regular for these next couple of days because I am going to be on a little vacation, if you want to call it that. So just keep that in mind. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to sign up for the Patreon and, join us every morning for these morning update videos Monday through Friday, check out that Patreon. It's linked right down below. Sign up. You get call outs. You don't just get these videos, you get my buy and sell alerts, you get call outs throughout the day, exclusive content, and we're building, we already have an awesome Strive Smart community, but we're branching off a bit into that Patreon, and it's getting pretty cool over there on Patreon. So make sure to check that out, link down below, and yeah, I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching as always. Peace out, guys.